Hey guys, happy Sabbath. I am so kind of excited to share this little nugget because Yah's character is revealed, God's character, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's who we're talking about, Yahuwah. Yah's character is revealed plainly to us in the scriptures. And there is a version of Yah out there in religion that has different standards, that has different tolerances, and it's not the Yah that we see in scripture. And so I just want to, there's been many examples up to this point in scripture, but this is in 1 Samuel 15. And I'm not going to read the whole chapter. I'm going to summarize part of it, but there's some parts that I'm going to read as well. And so this is when Samuel is talking to King Saul, and he is telling Saul that, so Yah is telling Saul through Samuel, the prophet, he's going to punish Amalek for what he did to Israel. And he says, now go and you shall strike Amalek and put under the ban all that he has. And you shall not spare them, and put to death from man to woman, from infant to nursing child, from ox to sheep, from camel to donkey. Like, Yah's not playing. He is executing some serious judgment on these people for what they have done to Israel. So Saul's like, cool, I'm gonna go do that. So he does. Fast forward. Verse 9, but Saul and the people spared Agag, the best of the sheep, and the cattle, and the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not put them under the ban. And the word of Yah came to Samuel, saying, I am grieved that I have set up Saul as sovereign, for he has turned back from following me, and he has not performed my words. Because remember, Yah said, spare nothing. And here we got Saul being like, oh, I'm going to spare the king and like the best of the spoils. And fast forward a little more, Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said to him, blessed are you of Yahuwah, for I have performed the word of Yahuwah. Saul's like, I did what he asked me to do. We good. But Samuel said, what then is this bleating of the sheep in my ears and the lowing of the cattle which I hear? And Saul said, I've brought them from Amalek, because the people spared the best of the sheep and the cattle to slaughter to Yahuwah your Elohim. The people. This was their idea. And they're going to make offerings to Elohim with it. Good intentions. Put a pin in that. And then Samuel was like, let me just remind you what Yah had said to you. And he said, though you were little in your own eyes, were you not head of the tribes of Israel, and did not Yah anoint you sovereign over Israel? And Yahuwah said to you on that day, go and you shall put under the ban the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they are consumed. Like utterly, totally, like done for. And why did you not obey the voice of Yahuwah, but swooped down the spoil and did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah? So Saul's like, hey, look at what I did. Like, I did what Yah told me to, and this little like side thing that I decided to do. And Saul's like, but I did obey the voice of Yahuwah. I went on the way which Yahuwah sent me, and I brought back Agag, the sovereign of Amalek, and I put Amalek under the ban. But the people took of the spoil of the sheep and cattle, the best of which should have been put under the ban, to slaughter to Yahuwah, your Elohim, in Gilgal. Then Samuel said, does Yahuwah delight in ascending offerings and slaughterings, as in obeying the voice of Yahuwah? Look, to obey is better than a slaughtering. To heed is better than the fat of rams. So people quote that scripture all the time. But this here is the context, friends. For rebellion is as the sin of divination, and stubbornness is as wickedness and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of Yahuwah, he also does reject you as sovereign. Now, Saul is sorrowful and all things, but if y'all have read the rest of that chapter, you kind of know what happens. And Samuel actually brings the king up, and it says, he hewed Agag to pieces before Yahuwah in Gilgal. I wrote in my Bible, literally, I was like, dang, homie. And Samuel did not see Saul again until the day of his death, for Samuel mourned for Saul, and Yahuwah was grieved that he had made Saul to reign over Israel. So this is not any different than the golden calf incident and other places in scripture where people had good intentions. They wanted to do something that they came up with in their own mind to worship Yahuwah, but it was not how Yahuwah had said he wanted to be worshiped. And Yah don't play, friends. He does not. Like, we don't take this seriously, because in modern day church and religion, it's like, God's our best friend, Jesus is my homeboy, all these things. And we like put ourselves on the same level as him. And we're like, well, if it's cool with me, it's going to be cool with him because he loves me. And that is such deception. He does love us, friends. But he loves us too much to allow us to continue in sin. And because of his justice, which is part of his love, that sin has to be dealt with. And when we decide we're going to like make a little tweak to the way that Yah said he wants to be worshiped and kind of do it in our own way, or we're going to fear man more than Yah and allow something to happen, we can see that he is not excited about that. And that's putting it super mildly. So I urge you to go back and read chapter 15 and 1 Samuel. I mean, read all of 1 Samuel, but it would be a really good idea to go back and read the golden calf incident, and to also then read this. And there's just two witnesses. There's many in scripture that basically tell us Yah wants to be worshiped in a specific way, and he has standards for that. He has expectations of his people. And when we go and kind of mostly do what he said, but then add our own stuff to it, I mean, look at Nadab and Abihu, like, he's offended. We might have good intentions, but Yah says, your good ideas are like filthy rags, right? Do what I said to do. Walk in my ways. Worship me the way that I command to be worshiped. And there is blessing for you and life for you in that. So heed that warning, friends, and have a blessed and happy rest of your Sabbath. Shalom.